So in the last video, we talked about how we are applying what we've learned or what we're learning from the study of the tradition of Johannes Liechtenauer and his Kunst des Fechtens into a modern context, right? How we're going to use the philosophical and theoretical framework of fencing that's embedded within his tradition and apply it to the questions that we have in modern times. Those questions are how to engage in a contest of swordsmanship with a training partner in a non-cooperative environment where we're both trying to hit and not be hit in some prescribed way. And so we're using Johannes Liechtenauer's art and his theoretical framework as a basis to do that. Liechtenauer's art begins with a concept of strength. So he has 5 words, and we're going to get into that at a separate video. But before we can even move past the first word, we have to understand it thoroughly. And that first word is strength. And so we're going to stand up. We're going to learn a concept of strength. We're going to apply it through the comportment of our body, and then eventually extend it out into our sword. So if we begin, David is just standing. You can see David's standing straight up. He's completely vertical. His hips are above his feet. His head are above his hips, and his head is above his hips. And so if I apply direct pressure forward, he's at essentially a 90-degree angle to the pressure. And so what's going to happen is David's going to fall back, right? David has no way of taking the direction of force that he's looking to oppose and channeling it through a series of angles into the ground through his skeletal structure. So one more time, he adopts that posture. You see the direction of force. If David's looking to oppose me here, I'm the direction of force at my shoulder height. And the direction of force, if he tries to oppose, there's no way for him to oppose it. Right? He can try and push. He can try and use his muscles to push back against it. And he might be able to resist quite well. But if I let go, David falls forward. And so what we want to do is we want to figure out a way to orient our structure, to comport our body so that we're able to resist the direction of force, but also not commit ourselves to falling forward in opposition to that direction of force. So he adopts the posture one more time, but this time I want him to move into what we might call a strong structure. So now David is oriented towards me, but instead of having his hips above his feet, and his head above his hips. Now he has his hips in between his feet, right? So his center of gravity are well within his feet, but his base is wider. And then also, instead of his head being directly above his hips, his head is slightly forward to form an angle that channels a force that he's intercepting with his arms in towards his hips and then back down into the ground through his legs. So if he opposes now, and I give him this force, I can give him quite a bit of resistance, but he's able to channel that force well. And he doesn't fall backwards, but also, if I release the force, he doesn't fall forwards immediately. So one more time. So. Now if David were to attempt to do so without any of those angles. So let's say he remained with a good, strong, and wide base, but he brought his head above his hips, or even worse, behind his hips. And then he formed that action. It's harder for him to maintain. He's able to get a little bit of it, right? But it's much harder. He has to activate a lot more of his muscles in order to maintain that. And if he really tried to oppose, and then I let go, so really try to oppose, there we go, and I let go, and you can see that, and he might have been exaggerating there a little bit, but you can see he would definitely have needed to fall forward, right? Because he's using so much bandwidth to activate his muscles to resist that force that he's unable to sense my release of pressure. And so he's unable to stop himself from falling forward because of that. So now if he adopts the structure again, he's only strong against one particular direction of force. Right? So he can oppose me right now if my force is coming from my shoulder height towards his shoulders, right? But if he does nothing and I move, now all of a sudden I'm attacking a distinct angle. he hasn't changed anything about his structure. It's still strong, but it's only strong against that singular direction of force. And now, if I offer some new direction of force, a new line of attack, it's more difficult for him to channel that force into the ground. And so as I move, he has to reorient. It's not good enough for him to just be strong, but he has to continue to be strong through my movement. Right? So no matter where I go, he needs to continue to reorient. And we can just check this. We stop. And we see that he's able to maintain a good, strong base against new directions of force as I reorient. So what are the qualities of his posture that make him so strong? So one of the qualities is that his center of balance is situated in between his feet, but he also has a good, strong, wide base. Right? So his center of gravity, there's a lot of room to move from one side to the other without falling forward of one of his feet. So if he stood straight up, if I pushed him this way, his center of balance would very quickly move onto one foot and then past it. Right? So if he widens out his base, and I push this way, he's able to channel the direction of force in through that far leg into the ground, and so he creates that angle, so it doesn't allow me to push the center of gravity past one of his feet. But that's only true in this direction. If I were to apply the same force this way, he would have to fall forward. So by staggering his feet so that they're both wide and there's space in between them this way, right? So we call this open, or more open, we might say. Right? Wide and open, it makes it so I can apply pressure this way, right? And it makes it so I can apply pressure this way. And he covers a lot more ground that way. So, strong structure is composed of a series of angles. You comport your body in such a way that you absorb the force of the direction of force that you're looking to oppose. And you do so in a way that doesn't require you to overcommit your body so that if that force is released, you end up falling forward. Thanks for watching Historical Fencing Channel content. If you'd like to learn more, check out our Patreon link in the description for detailed, one-on-one, tailored instruction. And don't forget to like and subscribe.